A drawing that I started a while ago. Actually, this is a drawing that I did as a demo for my live workshop for animal drawing series. And now I'm gonna go back in there, fix some anatomy of the legs. Then I'm gonna start shading to create more three-dimensional effect on this backyard Bambi. That's the title of this painting. Well, this is the preliminary study of my painting. So this is a 6x8, and the painting itself is actually 6x8 also. That's a small study. Anyway, so I already gridded the image. It's a photo I got of the Bambi in our backyard. Let's see if I can make this a little bit bigger. I can see more details. There you go. Just the easel. So I live in Washington State, and actually Central Washington State, and our home is kind of outskirts of the city limit. So we have a lot of vegetation, and we have a lot of wildlife, including deer. Matter of fact, we have currently 5 deer. They are all in. I think they are all in one family. The parents and one kid from last year, and twin babies from this summer. They are so adorable, and they are not really afraid of us either. I hope they don't get too comfortable with us, because we don't want them to start coming into our house. Anyway, so we get to photograph a lot of backyard wildlife animals. It's pretty fun. So I just want to show you, I have my tablet right next to me, so I can reference back and forth. But I just have that the image overlaid on our screen, so that you can see what I'm looking at. One nice thing about having tablet is I can use touchpad's feature to zoom in and out to see the detail. So right now I'm looking at this area. This is the knee of the left leg, and I need to fix this shape a little bit. I still have a trace of the grid lines from my grid drawing. but I didn't want to completely erase those guidelines because I wanted to make sure that I have all the outlines in place before I start really working on shading. But for the sake of demo, I had to simplify the shapes and the shading to demonstrate what the shading is going to look like, but it wasn't really my finished work. So I'm gonna move this up a little bit to create more terrace shape. Also, there's bigger space between the legs. I'm using knited eraser so I can create all kinds of custom shapes and expose clean surface. And the best of all, what I like about knited eraser is that it doesn't create eraser dust. Making better shape for the eraser. Before this project, I wasn't really familiar with the anatomy of deer, so I had to do some online research and become familiar with their bone structure. So I didn't realize that this part is the same thing as the ankle of humans, very long ankle, and this is the lower leg, and this is the thigh. So this is the knee, and I didn't really show the knee clearly. And this point is the heel. Just erasing this, making making a little bit lighter so that I can make a collection. And also this pointy heel has to come up a little bit higher. I'm gonna put a piece of paper on the side. Hello, hello. Hello, hello. So this piece of paper will prevent me from smudging the existing layer of graphite. So I like to do this kind of a drawing study on a piece of paper before I even start putting brush on the canvas. It's so much easier to make a correction with eraser. And if I need more information, I can just stop here and do more research. So this side of the ankle comes straight down, and this is the toe. But the glass is tall enough to hide these hoops, the toe nail parts. Now I'm mapping the shadow shapes here. Now I'm going back to the heel. I can see a little bit of jaggedy edges. That's the hair. So this is in the shadow, so it's dark. I can just cover up my errors, drawing errors. So we have a fence line all the way around our 2-acre property, but deers are amazing. Deer are amazing. They can just jump right over the fence that are 4 feet high. it's high enough for keeping street dogs out. So I want to make sure that I have a nice curve. Not quite straight. But every summer, this female deer comes back to our backyard and she delivers babies. Now apparently they have cousins in the next door. Our next door neighbor has a much bigger property with empty lot, grassy lot, and all the cousins and uncles, aunts and uncles and grandparents, they hang out. And sometimes their cousins visit our backyard too. Okay, so that's the leg, and I want to re-establish the belly line. I want to make sure this triangle is it's looking like what I want. So if the belly is hanging down too low, then it will look more like grown-up deer. I think fawns have a narrower torso. Okay, it's a little bit darker. Just learning the patterns of darks and light as I go. The whole thing is in the shadow, so I need to map this out first. So coming from the neck, let's get in the shade. So if I squint my eyes, there's a gradation of light to shadow shapes. And same deal on the left side below his chin. That's beginning of shadow. So I'm just using jaggedy line indicating the hair, the fur, to suggest the boundary between the lit side and shadow side. Now this part gets really dark. So my pencil has 2mm lid. This is mechanical pencil, so I don't have to keep sharpening, but it has 2mm 2B lead, and I created a angled edge so that I can use this longer area as my shading surface. So if I just use pointy section, my shading will look more like this with lot of lines. But if I have bigger surface area of the lead, I can cover a bigger surface faster. Even go back and create. Can you see the difference between this with pointy pencil, and this is the flat surface of the lead? You'll see more of what I mean by that. So instead of drawing every single hair, I just create a value mass. Still using the direction of the general hair, the general direction of the hair. This is not very dark spot. Then there's gradation from lighter shadow to dark shadow. And also there's a different color of the fur. So lower part of his chest, his neck is much darker, and it's also in the shade, so it's really dark. So I create that darkness by layering this color value mask. Before even start creating texture and everything. Almost like the process of my painting. Massing in the value shapes, then create texture after if it's needed. Need to keep reminding myself to move back from my easel and evaluate what's happening. Sometimes when you get so involved, you stop looking at the big forest and start working on the tiny part of a tree. When you step away from the canvas, then you realize that everything is out of proportion. So I'm just separating the lit side and shadow side at this point. It's really tempting to start adding some texture and the patterns on the body. I'm saving it for later. Sticking with lit side and shadow side. Actually, I really should get rid of these grid lines because it's really distracting. Even in the shadow area. If I lose the outline, it's okay, I can just re-establish the drawing. I love drawing with pencil because even if I'm unable to paint, like when I'm traveling or when I don't have a lot of time to set up a painting space, I can just pull out my sketchbook and pencil, and even just from smartphone to display my reference image, I can start drawing something. So when I take lots of photos on my phone, I usually upload my photos to cloud space like a Dropbox in a camera upload folder, but I also want to leave some photos, my favorite photos, on my phone, so that I have option to use them for drawing and just have fun. Okay. It's not easy to erase all these grid lines because for my live workshop I had to draw these guidelines dark enough for my audience to see through the webcam, and now I'm having a hard time erasing it. But I don't recommend doing that for you if you are doing this just for your own. Project, because you don't need to make sure that you don't need to worry about other people being able to see the grid lines. But I had to, so I'm going back here. This is a little bit bigger. Just give them a little more muscles. So I'm looking at this negative shape between the foreleg and this hind leg, and this little elongated triangle is called a negative shape. So when you have a grid guidelines like this, it's easy to map out the space. So I have this big triangle, long triangle, and I want to make sure that it's this needs to come down a little. And there's a little highlight. Because this part is in the sunlight. And let's cast shadow. I can start shading to just differentiate lit side and shadow side. This part is kind of tricky. So this long shaft of a ankle. This is a deer's ankle. You see this little triangle from this intersection of the grid line. I want to make sure that I have enough space for this elongated triangle. So the edge between this lit side and dark side, shadow side, is very soft. So this is where you need to use mini gradation from lit side to dark side. Maybe this dark is a little too strong, so I'm just gonna tap this eraser and just lift off graphite. It's a nice thing about this kind of kneaded eraser, without creating a strong eraser mark. You can just lift off a little bit of graphite at a time. It takes some practice though. It's not easy to do it in one shot. And if you lose the drawing, if we use too much pigment, we just put this back in. It's the same between. It's very similar to the painting process. This is in the shadow, but a little bit lighter. So there's a gradation here too. So I don't know if you can see, but I have a webcam between my face and the easel, so I'm kind of looking over the webcam to see my drawing paper. So for working on the lower portion of the drawing, I'm kind of working around the webcam. Okay. So what you're saying is literally like the front row seat. Okay, so there's a gradation here too, because there's a form. Okay, now this joint is pretty big. So the more I spend at the particular part of the body, I start recognizing more about the structure. Okay, so we just need to go a little bit higher. Just having this kind of information is really helpful once I start painting. I'll be more familiar with the drawing aspect of this composition. Okay, now I'm gonna create more lit side by removing this graphite, and I'm gonna put this back here. It's kind of like push and pull. So what I need to pay attention is the quality edges. So between the background and the leg, the edges are sharper. Especially where the hair is shorter. Then the edge between the shadows, lit side and shadow side, it's very soft. or sometimes really hard to tell the difference, but it's there. In this situation, the value differentiation is much bigger because this daylight sunlight is really strong. So I'm using paper white as my highlight, just like watercolor. Okay, now I can start the layering graphite for the darker shapes. But it's not as dark, still not as dark as the black nose. Don't want to spend too much time on the facial detail, but just wanted to demonstrate this level of the values. So this part is white hair, but it's in the shadow side, so it's not as white as the lit side. So I need to make a really pointy shape with the eraser, and I'm gonna just create light highlight. The shadow under the chin. Come straight down. So this is the right side of the neck. His main body is darker brown, and the neck is lighter color going toward his head. So that's kind of convenient to suggest the separation of these shapes. Now I can start carving out facial line with these dark shadow shapes. this is his shoulder. I'm still working in just the general shadow shapes. Now, around his hip, there's some pattern disruption, or there's switch of the pattern, and this gets really dark here. Also, the direction of hair is kind of noticeable. Okay, now I can connect the darks here, coming from the belly. So because I'm a right-handed, I'm trying to work from left side of the drawing, the paper to the right side, and I'll be fighting this smudging issue. Try not rush in this stage. I want to make sure that I'm covering up all the surface area of the shadow shapes. Now I can start layering these darker patterns. You see, I'm not working on those white speckles, white spots yet. So because he's turning to the right, so there's this there's a fold in his body between his rib cage and the hip. just to try to capture as much lighting effect as possible here. Turning away from the sunlight, it's much darker over here. Now I'm going to start softening the edge between the lit side and shadow side on his saddle. I'm going to be using the pencil stroke to create the texture of the hair. Not texture, but the direction of the hair. I guess it's the same thing. Just keep sliding the paper, just covering masking paper along with my hand, so that I'm not accidentally smudging my existing drawing as I move. I said this area needs to be much darker, even though it has a layer of graphite. Okay, so I'm gonna go back. You see how dark this section is? And I need to have more consistent value. Okay, let's start from this side. And I'm gonna move more from left to right. So once you establish proportional outline using grid method, then it becomes almost like no-brainer. You're just automatically, systematically adding shading to indicate the shadow and creating the lighting effect, and that becomes the three-dimensional illusion of your drawing. So anybody can learn this. It's drawing is a learned skill. Just need a proper system to make it easier. So if you know anybody who might be interested in learning to draw and paint animals, so let me know in the comment, and I will get back to you so that I can give you more information for them to learn more about my instructions. Actually, I have a membership called Painting Adventure Studio, and we go through not only oil painting lessons, but also we go through how to create a better reference image, how to edit the image, then how to draw, and how to critique our own work. Because painting is a very long learning process. It's not something done in a short time. It's almost like lifestyle. But if you join a community like Painting Adventure Studio, it becomes much more fun to go through the process with other fellow artists in the community and get feedback, get support, ongoing support and guidance. So everybody in our membership is from different artistic background and different age and cultural background. So they have different strengths and weakness. And I've been in my art business for a while, but I'm still learning. I'm not perfect either. So being a part of the community is really important to get support and even feedback. Including feedback on my communication skills, presentation skills, and my artwork. So do you see that I didn't have to draw individual hair, but just creating texture just along the edges between the shadow and the lit side. I can suggest that there are a bunch of hair. I love creating the gradation. It's almost addictive. From dark to the light. So this preliminary study of drawing becomes a roadmap for my painting project, and I can work on this on the same canvas or different sizes of canvas. Okay, so this part needs to get darker. You see how easy it is to work on the lighting effect once you have just the separation of lit side and shadow side, because your drawing is gonna start dictating you which part needs to be darker, and you just follow that instinct. Okay, so this torso needs to get darker. Sorry. Maybe I will just turn it around. Easier to work, or maybe not. You need to experiment. You need to be willing to experiment. And you don't, or you never fail. You only learn. I think that who said that? The famous boxer? I forgot the name. And I'm drawing, my left brain is not functioning very well. Just going back and forth and getting rid of the gaps. In case you're wondering, I can just show you a few examples of my pencil drawings. So these are just all 4x4. I just use the same technique, working from reference images I shot. And this is a painting project I'm working on right now. So I'm I'm squinting my eyes and trying to see what needs to be darker. This area kind of jumps out, so I need to darken it. You see how it is? How easy? Like, I'm my own. Like, I'm functioning as an artist and also my personal trainer at the same time. And as far as I'm concerned, as far as I can tell, drawing is one of the best way to start seeing like an artist. Because for creating representational paintings, creating the illusion of space and form is really important, and lighting effect is what accomplishes that. Well, especially that's true for painting animals. Because if your drawing is off, no matter how much you spend on the painting supplies, your animal portrait is not gonna come to life. Just because the proportion is not accurate to start with. Because it looks more like childish drawing. Okay, so the whole thing needs to get a little bit darker. I'm not gonna make everything as dark as the photos, because photos usually lie about the darkness of shadows. They exaggerate way too much. But it's a great starting point. Okay. It still needs to be darkened here. Drawing activities can be really meditative, especially when you're just working on shading, creating lighting effect. So it's worth being patient to transfer the basic outline image from photo to paper or painting surface, because it pays off. It will pay off. So these white spots will be distracting. So I'm covering it up before I even consider adding these white spots. There's a dark line going vertically. So I'm using blister paper, the smooth surface blister paper. It's been my favorite kind of drawing paper lately. I think I would use blister paper even for charcoal drawing from now on, because when I did animal portrait on charcoal paper, it just shows the paper texture way too much. And I spent so much time working on those pieces, and it was so sad. Just live and learn. There's a little bit of dark pattern here. All right. Now step back a little bit. Okay, so this part is a little bit darker than the rest of the torso. Because it's turning away from the sun, and also it's not receiving any reflected light from the green grass. So there's a reflected light from the grass inside the legs and the bottom of the belly. That's why there's a little bit of lighter parts. But this area is not facing down the grass, so it's darker. But it's not completely dark, because blue sky is also reflecting some light, but it's just overpowered by sunlight on the lit side. And that's what the photograph is not showing in my photo. That means the thigh needs to become even darker. Okay, now I get to have fun with the ears. So this side of the ear is entirely in shadow. So this is the borderline between the shadow and the light. Again, before adding details, I'm gonna block this in with light shadow color. As a big value mass. Just stepping back and evaluate. Same thing on the right side. There's a little bit of shadow from the forehead. So this is a mule deer. That's why they have a huge ears. That's why they are called mule deer. Like a mule, big ears of mule. Mule is like a hybrid of donkey and horse. So their mules are not as sensitive as horses, but bigger and has the strength and intelligence of a donkey. So there's a little gradation. The whole thing is in the shadow side. And here's a little bit of black and dark outline inside the ears. Go back to the left ear. So there's inside of the ear. This is where you can utilize the texture, but I didn't use texture for drawing the entire body, just for a few spots like this, transition between the switch between different values. different value masses, value shapes. So I'm just darkening the left side a little bit more. Maybe a little bit on the right side too. So I'm squinting my eyes to see where I need to darken more. That's all, very systematic. I already put the first layer of shadow shape on inside the ear. Now I'm enhancing the darker sections. That's it. That's all. There's sharper edge here and soft edge on the right side. Maybe even darker in general. Okay, I'm gonna make the neck a little bit darker because I want to show that this is in the shade. And this part gets darker. All right, I need to make this even darker. just in case you were wondering, I'm using 2B mechanical, a 2B pencil. It's mechanical pencil, so I don't have to keep sharpening the pencil. And it's 2mm lead, so I can cover bigger areas when I'm shading. So this is a deer that we have in our backyard. We don't keep these deer; they just keep coming back, and the mother, the female deer, keeps coming back here, and she raises her babies. I think I noticed that she has some kind of leg problem with one of her hind leg, so she's kind of limping a little bit whenever she's walking. But this summer, she had twin babies, and they're growing up as big as about the same type as their mom now, and all the spots, there's this white speckles are gone. Pretty cute. And the best part is that we don't have to like feed them or give them water. They just hang out and they find their own food. If we had, imagine if we had a horse or donkeys, we have to have someone feeding them every day. And taking care of them, grooming them. And when they are delivering baby, it's nice to have someone assisting, just watching them, make sure. Because I have a friend who raise horses, and whenever their mother horse is pregnant and about to deliver a baby, they have to be home just in case. I don't know exactly what kind of help they have to give to the horse, but so first time when we saw a fawn in the backyard, we named him Bambi, but then we had another fawn next summer, so we had to we have to come up with new name. We already used that name Bambi for one, but for this painting project, I'm just calling this Backyard Bambi, just to keep it simple. And then we have right now we have 12 chickens as pet, and they all have names. do have 2 ducks. And whenever we get new chicks, we have to come up with names. Because for one thing, it's more convenient to have a ID or personal names, so that if, for example, we have a chicken named Sophie, and if Sophie is having trouble, I can communicate with other people. Sophie is missing, or Sophie is not doing well, or she's eating better. Mostly, I guess it's mostly useful when someone is missing in a chicken coop, because we can identify which one we're talking about. So we try to get the different breed whenever we buy them from hatchery. We buy them from hatchery instead of letting our chickens hatch their own eggs, because we don't want to have more than one rooster. We have one rooster named Sasha, and if there are multiple roosters, they'll be fighting during mating season, and it becomes burden for the hens. I think this needs to come a little bit more to the left. So this edge is sharper because I need to show that the neck is in front of the shoulder. And the neckline kind of blends in here below. Okay. Maybe I will darken this side a little bit and curl it down. For now. Well, so the goal of this painting is not to create a finished masterpiece. This is just a preliminary study for my painting project. But also I'm practicing my drawing technique as well, and this is also trying to help my student in my drawing class. So my members of Painting Adventure Studio will have access to the high resolution of this demo in our membership site called Painting Adventure Studio, and they don't have to watch the advertisement, or they don't have to watch the low resolution, and they can have a copy of my drawing sample and reference images, and they'll also have access to me and get personalized feedback on their drawing and painting. Okay, I think this is getting better. Bring upside down to check. I want to make this a little bit darker. This kind of drawing exercise with shading really makes you see the lighting effect, and that's part of my definition of ability to see like an artist, especially for representational painting, like animal portrait. Because drawing without good drawing skills, no matter how much you cheat by using tracing tools and transfer paper or carbon paper to transfer the image, you'll be limited. Unless you learn to draw, because you're not gonna learn to edit your composition the right way if you keep depending on tools like that. So it's a convenient way to get started. Okay, I'm just double checking the shadow of the cast shadow, shapes of the cast shadow. Just adding some indication of the grass. And so I eliminated this little bright shape because it's not helping the composition and if it's not helping, it's probably, it may be hurting my image. I mean the composition. So this side is kind of skinnier and softer edge. Also, I don't want to call too much attention to dark shapes so close to the edge of the canvas. The same deal with here. I didn't want to add a whole light spot inside the dark cast shadow. I'm trying to practice being more minimalistic, and if it's not necessary, I want to remove it or not include it. Okay, I think I'm done here. Because I need to take a break and evaluate what I need to darken more, or maybe not. I don't know, but I think this is a good stopping point. And my coffee is completely cold.